The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, Lord.
Again, Jesus left the district of Tyre and went by way of Sidon to the Sea of Galilee into the district of the Decapolis. And people brought to him a deaf man who had a speech impediment and begged him to lay his hand on him. He took him off by himself away from the crowd. He put his finger into the man's ear and, spitting, touched his tongue. Then he looked up to heaven and groaned and said to him, "Ephphatha," that is, be opened. And immediately the man's ears were opened. His speech impediment was removed, and he spoke plainly. He ordered them not to tell anyone, but the more he ordered them not to, the more they proclaimed it. They were exceedingly astonished, and they said, "He has done all things well. He makes the deaf hear and the mute speak." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
A few years ago, the residence where we Pine missionaries lived, was sold. And so at the present time, there are 6 of us priests temporarily living in rented townhomes. And they're not bad. They're pretty nice, actually. We have 3 townhomes, and there's 2 of us in each. Plus we have a chapel and a dining room where we get together. So anyways, the townhomes are about 25 minutes from where our offices are. So I think I've told you before, this is the first time since I was in college that I have to drive to work every day. I know, none of you feel sorry for me, but anyway. So the summer has been so hot that normally last summer, the summer before when we first moved into the townhomes, when I got home from work, I would go, we have a balcony on the 2nd floor, just outside of our kitchen, and after I got home and put things away, maybe got something ready for dinner, I would sit out on the balcony for half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe pray the breviary, maybe check social media, whatever, just kind of sit there and before the evening started, before I sat down to watch the news and have my dinner. So since it's been so hot all summer, I really didn't have a chance to do that. But this past week, I did. It was so nice. And so, in fact, I was so looking forward to being able to do that. So I got home and I did what I needed to do. I fed the dog, and then I went out onto the balcony, and the dog likes to sit out there as well with me. And I think it was Tuesday. There was this really annoying noise just a couple of doors down. I think somebody in their garage was either buffing or sanding, and you know how much like a high-pitched whining sound that just kept going and going and going and going. And I was trying as much as possible to sit in peace and enjoy, the sounds of the neighborhood, kids or dogs barking, or there's a park nearby and there's a pickleball court. Those kind of noises are kind of nice. They're just in the background, but this was just so annoying that after about 30 minutes I got up and I said, well, that wasn't worth it. So the next day I came home from work and I thought, here we go again, I'm going to go back outside. And sure enough, who's ever sanding or whatever they're doing, I wanted to yell out to them, stop that noise, but it was probably so loud in their garage that they wouldn't have heard me anyways. And then on Friday, when yesterday I got home, I went out there and the noise was still going, and I said, I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to bother sitting out here because this noise is just so annoying and so distracting that I can't even think. And we have noises in our life all the time, all kinds of noises. Sometimes they're just like background noises, but other times, we have the radio on and we have noises, our phone rings and our phone dings and our phone does all kinds of things. And every time my phone dings with a text message, even though it's not a problem, it just bugs me. Usually it rings twice, it dings twice. So it reminds me you haven't looked at it yet. Or all the other noises in our life, like I said, the radio, the television, we turn the news on, we turn this on, that we don't have a place to be quiet. In today's gospel, an interesting miracle story. Normally, Jesus performs his miracles for others to see. But this time, it became kind of problematic because Jesus didn't want to become known as the miracle worker, the person who performs miracles, and more people would follow him just because of his miracles. And the other thing is the man couldn't hear, and he couldn't speak right. He had a speech impediment. And if you've ever known any deaf people, sometimes it's hard for them to form the words because they don't know what the words sound like. So Jesus took this man away from the crowd, away from the cacophony of noises and people and whatever was going on, by himself. He took this man away by himself to perform the miracle because Jesus wanted the first voice for that man to hear to be Jesus' voice, to be the voice of the Lord comforting him. In Isaiah, we hear today, he tells us, be strong, fear not. Imagine this man, and we don't know how old he was, who never heard anything, didn't know what it was like to hear another person's voice. And so that's why he didn't know how to pronounce words. And all of a sudden, he was going to hear a voice. Was it going to be the voice of the crowd murmuring, the crowd yelling at Jesus, or the crowd, people talking? And we hear all those noises. Sometimes it even bugs me, but before Mass, if you stand at the back of church, and I always think church is the place where we need to be silent. I mean, when we're praying together, obviously we don't need to be silent, but if we need to talk to one another, that's why we have the gathering space out there. This is where maybe for 10 or 15 minutes before Mass or after Mass, after the music, where we can be in touch and listen to what God has to say to us. Jesus' words were, be open, ears of this man. Jesus' words to us are, open your ears. Let me open your ears to my word. Let me open your eyes, as Isaiah tells us in the first reading. Open the eyes of all of us to the wonders of God around us. But sometimes we're looking at so many things, and we've got our faces buried in our cell phones and our iPads and our laptops that we don't give our eyes the chance to see the wondrous things that God has placed all around us, and all those wonderful people around us as well. Open our eyes. Be still. Fear not.